Hi, welcome back for Chapter 4 of Molly Finds Her Courage. These animals have got to go. Someone is going to get hurt, I thought. It might even be sad if it was that rooster. I need to stop thinking like that because he was actually part of the security team, only I didn't like to think about that. After we had eaten, walked out, and did the farm chores, and secured all the barns, we sat in the lawn chairs for a while. Mom and Dad were talking about what Mom had found on the computer about coyotes and how to chase them away. It seems they have picked our farm for their territory. As the pack gets larger, members break away and form new packs. Mom has found out they are actually afraid of people and most things. So I'm not the only one going around trying to make everything else think it was brave when really I'm not. She listed a number of different animals we could add to our farm to help frighten them away, and she said she really liked the idea of a donkey. Horses work too, but they can hurt you without meaning to. Or we could try mothballs, or leave a radio on, or add motion detector lights by the yard and barn areas. Pigs would work well too, but they're, well, pigs. I wasn't sure what a pig was, but Mom wasn't real excited about even talking about them, so if she wasn't happy, I didn't want any pigs on my farm. But she again mentioned a donkey or even two. She could let Dad build a little wagon for the donkeys to haul vegetables and eggs to the neighbors. And using the donkeys would save on gas and upkeep from the gator. Isn't that a wonderful idea? Dad just looked at her and then started laughing. Joe started to laugh, so I lay under his hammock and smiled. I don't know what was so funny, but they were happy, so I was too. The next day, Mom and Joe went to town, and I had to stay in the house and relax in the sun on the floor. When Dad came home, we all went out with the things Mom had bought and left stinky little white balls in little dishes around the cow pasture and edges of the yard. Dad figured we would start there. He said he liked the idea of trying mothballs first, so we didn't really hurt the coyotes. We just want to encourage them to find a new home area. We heat our house with wood during the winter, so Dad thought this would be okay for now, being as no real damage was being done, so we could pay attention to building a wood pile. Mom wanted to start the early harvest from her garden too, so busy time was approaching for us all. I was going to have to watch over Mom and Joe in the garden and Dad in the woods. I figured he would be the most okay with all the noise he was making with his saws and tractor machines, so I would be more needed by the garden. The weather was coming into the hot summer days and things were slowing down. It was too hot to do much but play with the kittens in the barn and lay in the shade when my family was outside. I haven't crossed any of the coyote smells, but I find it hard to believe those little stinky balls we set out are chasing them away. It can't be that simple to solve this problem, can it? I'm not relaxing my guard, though. You just don't know. We got lots of stuff from the vegetable garden, and the loads of things to swap on the egg runs have gotten more varied. Each farm traded us different things from their gardens, too. We started bringing home sweet corn from the house on the hill. It must be good stuff, because Mom eagerly accepted the trade. We still take our eggs, but the back of the gator is more crowded for me to sit in now because of all the different things in there. Mom let me outside to patrol and look around while we wait for Dad. My yard border is just fine, so I stroll over by the wood pile by the driveway. A couple noisy squirrels are really scolding me as I smell around the pile of firewood, but they won't come down so I can stand and bark at them. It won't be long now, and Dad'll be home from work. He can help me with the squirrels. I ignore them while hoping maybe they will become quiet and leave me alone. As I came around the edge of the woodpile, the chickens that were below the hill the woodpile is stacked on started running up towards me. They were flapping their wings and making all sorts of chicken noises as they ran past. It reminded me of the noises they were making when the hawk got trapped in the coop. I just stood looking at them, and I wondered, what do you guys think you're doing? Was this a new game someone made up? Didn't any of them realize it is harder to run up the hill than it is to run down a hill? Maybe I should wait until they are all past and join the race. I hid behind a big piece of wood and got ready to run. The rooster was last in line, and he was squawking, flapping his wings, and hopping. To me, it looked like he was pushing the slower hens to go faster. I'm really puzzled now. What is going on? This doesn't look to be very much fun for the hens. The last of the chickens raced past, and right behind them was a coyote. I was already in the process of running out from behind the piece of wood I was hiding behind, and I couldn't stop. The coyote and I collided into each other, and we both fell backwards. I was in complete shock and sat for a second to understand what I had just done. The coyote sat where I had knocked it, looking at me. It was just as surprised as I was. "Bark!" I shouted in my head. "Bark as loud as you can. Bark, Molly!" So I listened to my head and barked as loud and as much as I could. At that very moment, Dad drove up into the yard. I kept barking and hopping around, inching my way back towards where I hoped Dad could see me, and he did. I barked and barked and barked right in the coyote's face. I was so close to it, I could see the black center in its eyes and the eyelashes as it blinked. It was so focused on me that Dad was able to get around the woodpile near it. As Dad came running down to me, he was shouting and waving his arms in the air. The coyote turned and ran into the bushes as Dad picked up some pieces of wood to throw while he ran into the brush after the coyote. I took off running after Dad, who was still crashing in the brush, barking as loud as I could. Finally, Dad stopped running, but I was going so fast I couldn't stop, so I collided with him, still barking. I was now tangled in the weeds, grapevines, and Dad's legs. I couldn't go any further, so I stopped barking, breathing hard and panting. Dad was breathing hard too and stood a minute to catch his breath. "It's gone now. Come on." Dad turned around and headed back out into the driveway, and we walked up together. My throat hurt really bad from barking so loud while trying to breathe as I raced behind Dad chasing the coyote. Boy, that was so scary, but that was so exciting. I had come face to face with a coyote. I even touched it. And with a little help from Dad, I got it to run away from us. Was I a hero or what? Wait until egg run day and I could tell the other dogs about what Dad and I had just done. I figured the coyote thing was done and they would move on now that they had been chased by Dad and had me run into and knock them over. Yep, Dad and I took care of those scary old coyotes. Shucks, they ain't so tough. I was pretty confident as we walked up to the chicken coop. We stopped to check on the chickens because as we were walking past, the rooster came out and tried to attack Dad's feet. The hens were still all making their hen noises and jumping around by their coop. You could tell they were still pretty upset over the coyote. I stood by Dad and thought to myself, "Hey chickens, I just took care of that coyote. Didn't you see me? Pretty neat, don't you think? You don't need to be scared anymore. I'm on the job." I don't know if Dad saw them being chased or just saw me and the coyote, but he sure jumped out of the truck and got to me really fast. We stopped at the truck so he could reach in the door he left open to turn the motor off. Mom and Joe by now were out in the yard by the truck, and after Dad got the rooster to finally stop attacking his feet and go back to the hens, he got a chance to tell them what I had just done. Just all in a day's work, guys, I thought, but after they were all done petting me, I trotted up to the door and looked around. Yep, this is my home, and I'm going to protect it. I lay on the floor a while to watch my yard and waited to see if I could see the coyote again. It didn't come back, at least I didn't see it. I couldn't hear anything outside, and the little breeze that came in through the window didn't carry any smells on it my way. And that's the end. So, Molly's getting a little spunky here. I hope you enjoyed the chapter. If you did, please subscribe. Click the notification bell so when I put a new chapter on or any other video, you'll be notified. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you soon. Bye.